Hello, friends. Do you got therapy? Well, if you come to family court, you sure might. Today, we're going to talk about all of the different therapeutic orders and placements that can be entered in divorce proceedings. My name is Manny Segarra, coming to you from Miami, Florida. So, whenever there's a divorce proceeding, what makes family court very unique is that oftentimes courts will enter orders requiring some sort of therapeutic intervention, whether it be for the children, for the parties, or hybrid situations for both. Each jurisdiction is different. They may order different therapeutic processes in each of the different states and jurisdictions, and there may be different companies that facilitate this, so I invite you all to check them out. But let's get into it. First, starting for therapeutic orders that are sometimes considered relating to children. One of the first ones would be co-parenting counseling. Co-parenting counseling is counseling sessions between the parents or the parties in which they try to receive counseling on how to get along better and show a united front for the benefit of the children. These co-parenting sessions can last anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks. Sometimes, if the parties really don't get along, they'll get extensive co-parenting counseling, and it can last anywhere from 3 months to sometimes even 6 months. The next group of counseling sessions relating to children would be co-parenting coordination, which is different than co-parenting counseling. Co-parenting coordinator is someone who is trained to help facilitate the parents in making co-parenting decisions when they get stuck on issues such as extracurricular activities, school placement, vacation, things of that nature. Oftentimes, the parties attend weekly sessions where they try to hash out how to make decisions relating to their children. Oftentimes, a co-parenting coordinator may help either be the tiebreaker or the ultimate decision maker whenever the parties cannot decide between themselves. Another aspect that relates to the children is supervised time sharing or supervised visitation. When a court decides that one parent is not ready for in-person time sharing or visitation, they may order what's called supervised visitation, which will either be at a facility or on Zoom, given the pandemic, or at an agreed to location, sometimes even by a relative, where that parent will have time sharing or visitation with the children under the supervision of someone else. And finally, oftentimes there are referrals for parental alienation, when one parent is alienating or trying to not foster a relationship or encourage a relationship between the children and that other parent, they may be referred for parental alienation. The next set of therapeutic referrals that a court may consider are counseling, the different types of counseling. First, there's individual counseling for the parties. Sometimes divorce proceedings can become a little bit too much and one or both of the parties require individual counseling. There may be individual counseling for the children, which happens quite often in cases in which there's acrimony between the parties. There may also be family counseling. Once the parties are deemed ready either by the individual counselor or the court, there may be family counseling between the parties and the children or the parent that may be estranged from the child or children. The court may refer the parties to use the Our Family Wizard or the Talking Parents application. These are applications that are used, and I'm sure they're not the only ones, but they're used so that the parents can communicate above board, and that communication can be downloaded by the parents, the attorneys involved in the case, as well as the court. In cases in which there are either issues relating to perhaps physical violence or the use of physical discipline or corporal punishment, a court may refer a party to an anger management course. They may happen individually, they may happen in group settings. A lot of times they will report back to the court whether or not the individual referred to the anger control course has made positive strides regarding that type of counseling. And finally, I believe substance abuse counseling. If it is found that one of the parties has a substance abuse issue, then the courts often will refer them to substance abuse counseling, whether it be AA, NA, or an other type of center that will help them with their substance abuse issues. The third group of therapeutic referrals involve those with evaluations or testing. They may include a psychological evaluation. If one of the parties is required to do that, they will conduct a battery of psychological examinations to come up with a diagnosis to hopefully better treat that person. It may include a psychiatric evaluation where they have to see a psychiatrist and determine if their medical regimen is the proper one or up to speed. One of the therapeutic referrals that is used often in Florida is what's called a social investigation. It is in effect when the parenting plan is at issue because the parents are unable to agree. Oftentimes the court will order a social investigation, and that the staff that conducted the social investigation will have to provide a written study, including written statements of fact on which the recommendations are based. In Florida, the social investigation has to be conducted by a licensed professional, usually a psychologist, social worker, marriage and family therapist, or a mental health counselor. Those are the ones that usually conduct the social investigations in Florida, and they're very helpful. The other group of testing, which we touched a little bit upon before, are substance abuse testing. If it is determined that one of the parents has some sort of substance abuse issue, they will have to drop either urine or they will do a hair follicle test. Pro tip, the tease and the flushing does not work for the hair follicle testing. The hair follicle testing will catch you if you're trying to mask it with tease or flush out your system, because the drugs stay in your system for a little bit longer time than just a couple days. And then the other one, which comes up in rare cases, is a paternity test in divorce, like when there's an issue regarding who the biological father is of the child. For instance, if there's a separation between the parties and the wife becomes pregnant by someone that is not her husband, the court may order a paternity test. So that is an overview of the different therapeutic processes or orders that may be entered in a court. Check with your jurisdiction to see if there's other ones. You can look online to see what the different requirements are for each. But I would be remiss if I do not touch upon the ramifications of you not attending these therapeutic orders or abiding by these therapeutic order. Number one, non-compliance will be filed by the providers. This will automatically bring it up to the court's attention. That is not good. The judge is not going to be happy if you are not complying with these therapeutic orders. One of the things that can happen to you also is that you may be held in contempt of court. This is the kind of contempt of court that you can cure by going and attending the therapeutic sessions that you were ordered to attend. You also may be sanctioned by the judge. The judge may sanction you monetarily. They may ask you to pay attorney's fees. And then probably the one of the worst sanctions is that you actually may lose custody of your children if you are non-compliant. A lot of times people get these referrals to individual counseling or co-parenting or the drug testing, and they're willy-nilly about it, and they're like, oh, I don't have to comply. Fast forward, they file a non-compliance, and fast forward again, and you lose custody of your children because you didn't comply with what the court told you to do. Because all of these orders are very important, and they have been determined by the court that they need to be instituted in your case. So, having said all that, remember that each case is different. If you know anyone that has been ordered to attend these therapeutic processes and needs help with understanding the therapeutic process or these orders, please have them reach out to us at www.segarralawfirm.com. We have offices in Miami and Orlando, Florida. Se habla español. And do us a favor, like this video, subscribe to the Divorce Broadcast, and share this video with any friends and families that may be trying to navigate the therapeutic orders set by the court. Thank you.